Morning, guys. Mark Ferrasci with Protect Dog Training. I've got the dogs out here. It's about 7:30 in the morning. I just wanted to do a quick video. Excuse my lack of production value. Okay, first thing I want to say is that if you guys have watched on Facebook, you've seen all this advertisement going crazy and all this production type of stuff going on with all these people. I won't mention names, but they're all about perfection within the production of film. I don't have that ability and I don't have the time. Okay, I've got work I've got to do. So Marcel just posted a post out to a group that was Dutch Shepherd lovers, and there's a bunch, 5 or 6, 8 different Dutch Shepherd type um, groups on Facebook. All right. Now, me, I've been training dogs. For those that don't know who I am, I've been training dogs since I've been 12 years old. My whole life has been spent eat, breathe, and sleep dogs to a degree that most trainers have never done. Living in the back of kennels up and down the California coast, living a pretty rough lifestyle, but loving what I care about, which is the dogs. Okay, some of you know that I used to be around Cesar Millan before anybody even know who he was, and the Dog Whisperer. It became something, and they had the TV show on, and I like to think of me as being a mentor that basically allowed him to get where he's at. Basically, he didn't know English. He had no clue. And I did everything I could to kind of mentor him and took him under my wing. When I met Caesar, he was in the back of a kennel, scooping poop and grooming dogs, bathing dogs, right? And I came in as a trainer with a dog that I had. And I've always done that as a kid because I was really into training dogs for different things. My first dog was an Australian Shepherd. I called her my circus dog. It was my experimentation phase. It was after I got her at 12 years of age. I taught her to roll, crawl, limp. I could go like this and say shake, and she'd shake like she was shaking water off her back. I did all kinds of things. How many words can a dog learn and be tied in with hand signals? And that was my whole thing back then. So I trained her, and then as I get a little older, about 16 years of age, I ended up getting a German Shepherd, and all I cared about was doing bite work. And this is when this was just starting in America. It was coming over from Germany, and the cops were just learning, and the Germans were making money hand over foot, educating law enforcement and educating them about the canines within Schützen. IGP is what it's called nowadays. So I've been doing this and eat, breathe, sleeping dogs my whole life. Okay, this is what I do. Now I've got a breed that I'm into that I want to kind of grow and get into breeding. Okay, it's just kind of an evolution from training to breeding to a breed that a bloodline that I really love, as far as, excuse me, bloodline, but a breed that I really love, which is a Dutch Shepherd, right? Now, all these groups that are on Facebook, most of them are civilian. They're the general public. Okay, so I have some definite philosophies and attitude about what I get into, and I'm training and working dogs that can go to the street, law enforcement, etc. So it's all about genetics and about bloodlines. You hear that term all the time. Genetics matter, right? And they do. So I want you folks to understand. I want to try to take the chance that since Marcel threw my name out there and put me into the pool, and I was kind of upset at him a little bit because I'm not into marketing to the general public, because I don't feel that the general public, most of them, should not even have a Dutch Shepherd, shouldn't have a Malinois, because most people don't get off the couch. And in America, their lifestyles are so busy, they think they know what they want. They go out and they watch the Wicks movies. Oh, cool. And because of the volume, the sheer volume of Malinois that are out there, they go out and they grab them out. The Malinois are getting put down. Getting put down in droves because people end up getting them and they think they know what they want and they have no clue what they're getting into. And the dog ends up maturing from a puppy. Oh, he's just cute. Right now I've got Dutch Shepherd litter, right? And that's where this came from. Marcel is somebody that came to me, and right away I'm screening the people that get my dogs. Why? Because my genetics are very strong. Okay, and they're not for the layman. I keep saying that to people. So I want to try to get you to understand this. Malinois. Malinois are all over Europe. And their first original, where they came from in a general sense, was from France. And they've got a sport over in France called French ring. And in that sport, they've got the big old suit, and I call it a doughboy suit. And they get into the sport of ring sport. And there's certain things within the certain scenarios that they do where the dog needs to do what they call an esquive. So it means that the dog is going downfield, and at the last second, the decoy will try to get away from it. Okay, and so it's all about points when you're doing sport. And so because of that, in that culture of ring sport coming out of France, the dogs are generally smaller. Why? Because they're going after points, right? And so they breed the dogs smaller because they're faster. If they get bigger, but this is a Belgian line. This is Joker. He's a pretty big boy, and he's more Belgian lines than he is French ring lines, right? So genetics, where they come from, what part of the world they come from, and what those people are into in that cultural niche that they get into creates the dog. Okay, so I'll get into another subject, KNPV. You guys probably hear about KNPV. KNPV is a sport out of Holland and Dutch. They call it the royal sport. Maybe it's not called the royal sport. I may be talking out my ass a little bit in that regards because I'm not an expert totally, but I'm very familiar with most all this stuff. Okay, so KNPV is a sport that's basically dedicated to building a real police dog. Okay, and their scenarios go around certain things that they do. Their suits are totally different than the doughboy suits, right? And they've been breeding. The Dutch Shepherd used to be a herding dog when they had all the sheep all over the place, and that dog was from a ranch type of an environment. Dutch Shepherds are a very tough breed, and they're bred to be very square, and they're an excellent breed. But that's what I'm into. Okay, the Dutch Shepherd. That's my breed of choice. But the lines that I have are KNPV lines, and they're very genetically predisposed to be the way they are, and they're much more tendency to climb the leash and to be aggressive. You have to have a really good sense for what you're getting into when you bite off one of my dogs. And so I don't like going out pushing them towards the general public. And Marcel put my name out there because he knows I got a whole litter of puppies right now, and I need to place them, but I do not want to place them with people that do not have a clue what they're getting into. These are not for the layman. I keep saying that, okay? Now, with going back to the Malinois, which is an integral part of the Dutch Shepherd, because in the KNPV lines, they've thrown them back to the Malinois and to a bunch of other breeds to create a very tenacious tier 1 dog. In other words, when I say tier 1, it's dogs that are being worked and trained for the military with their rappelling out of helicopters and all the things that they do to go out into a war situation. They need a dog with a lot more. That's me. That's what I don't rappel down helicopters. I have no experience in all that. But bottom line, these are the genetics that we're getting. When law enforcement goes to buy dogs and makes buy trips over to Europe, a lot of times they're going over in what I call KNPV land. It's right where the heart of all this is happening, and all the breeders are over there in that area selling their dogs. It used to be kind of just us that were buying their dogs. Now they sell their dogs all over the world. The Japanese are buying them. The Chinese are buying them. Russia, all of the countries are getting these dogs because they're so set for military or police application. Okay, that's the dogs that I have. Okay, so when Marcel pushed me out there, I was a little bit irritated because my dogs are too much for most people to handle. Okay, but what I want you to understand is that genetics matter. Okay, so back to the Malinois as a baseboard of description so you understand that. The Malinois are a lot more permeated all over Europe. They become a very popular breed. But because of that, you have these cultures that are into certain things. You've got Belgian Malinois. You've got French ring Malinois come from France. It's a very small area. I mean, Europe is right on top of itself. France is right next to Holland and Denmark, right? So because of this, these cultural pools, these genetic pools, people breeding for certain things within what they're into, the KNPV sport's been going on for 200 years, maybe more. And these breeders are very good at what they're doing, and they've got a huge amount of people, military and police, that are coming over to buy their dogs. They're real, okay? And so these dogs are affected by where they're at. I'll give you a good example of this. This is what I'm trying to get across to you. French ring. The dogs are smaller. Why? Because of what the ring sport is asking of those dogs, and the people that are getting into the ring sport, they're breeding for a smaller dog so he's quicker, so he can get into the escape and not lose points, and all kinds of things that go within the scenarios that they do within that sport. Okay? KNPV, they're building a police dog. It's still a sport in their mind, but they've got scenarios and they have a different suit. Okay, here's where you get into understanding some things. Their suit is more canvas, and underneath that suit they put leather gauntlets. So it's a stiffer suit that the dog is going to end up having a lot more tendency to slip the bite. And when the prey gets away, that dog wants to hang on. So when they're young puppies, they've got a different suit material. It's not that doughboy suit that you see in French ring. Okay, and because of that, that dog has a tendency to be built and from a very young age and genetically predisposed with time, that they're building these dogs to be a totally different critter, right? Their jaw pressure is a lot more. If you look at my Dutch Shepherds, they've got a lot more muscle in the jaws, okay? And it's because they've been bred back to, the rumor is, nobody can prove anything, but we all know that they've been playing with stuff. They're experts at this, and they've been directing it, getting a dog to be bred towards what they want in the military and the police. For the last 10, 20 years, we've been in Afghanistan, Iraq. We've wanted, and so now these guys went out behind the barn and they started, you know, and so because of this, these dogs are a lot more genetically predisposed to be aggressive, right? You have to know what you're doing. And again, I've been doing this since I've been a baby. I eat, breathe, and sleep this stuff. It's what I thrive on. But not everybody should have these dogs. Not everybody should have a Malinois. They're being put down in droves because people don't know what they're getting into, and they watch the little TV shows and they see the dogs in the Wick movies and this and that, and oh, I gotta have one. And then America goes out and starts buying all these dang Malinois, and they screw them all up, backyard breeding. The dogs in the genetic pool is going to hell in a handbasket. So what you're getting, you're not just getting a Malinois. When you go out and buy a dog and you want a Malinois, research, do your R&D, and really understand the genetic pool and predisposition of that genetic stamp, is what I call it, that where that dog is coming from, that you're going to end up getting what you get. Okay? Don't just go out and buy a dog without understanding what you're getting into. Okay? Because in the end, this is where my philosophies come in. In the end, guys, the only thing that, the only one that suffers is the dog. Because you don't know what you're doing, and you're a cute little puppy, and you get yourself a Malinois, and he grows up and he turns into the high energy outflow dog that he is, and your lifestyle doesn't match that dog, and the dog gets put into the pound, and the dog, or he gets in rehomed and flipped on, and he ends up on the street. How many times have you seen a Malinois running on the street? We find them up here all the time, right? It's sad, and the main problem is society. Your lack of education, your lack of understanding of what you're getting into is causing the problem. It's not the dog's fault. We breed these things, right? I'm into what I'm into, and I want to place those dogs with dog people that really know what they're doing. So I'm lucky in the respect that I have enough connections all over the country that people know who I am. You folks probably don't know who I am. When Marcel mentioned my name, he said, Mark Ferrasci, he's going to screen you. That was the only thing he said when he posted his post. To you folks that are on the Dutch Shepherd, love the Dutch Shepherd, or whatever the name of the group is, I'm going to post that to you guys. I'm going to give you the link to my YouTube video. I'll post this up to YouTube, and you guys will be able to watch it. But understand that my dogs, my genetic predisposition is a lot more than most people can handle. And I'll screen you. Okay, in other words, I'm going to ask you questions I did with Marcel. I asked Marcel to write me a letter telling me why he should think that he should get one of my dogs. I may put you through the same thing. Okay, now what ends up happening, I've had 2 or 3 litters already over the last 5 or 6 years that I produced, and it ends up being that I will do a lot of yakking on screen, and my production's not that good. I'm not Mr. Glitzy Glamour and all the bells and whistles that you see all these videos coming. That's not me. I'm out here just doing my thing. I'm yakking at the screen. I'm trying to educate people because this is a drive. I've been doing it my whole life to put out information so you can learn and grow. But my videos aren't perfect. I admit it, and it's hard for me because our world is turning into all this bells and whistles, and that means you're a good trainer? I don't think so. Right. And it's impressive. I mean, I've got these people and I respect them, but at the same time, I just don't have the wherewithal. I don't have a crew of kids following me around with a bunch of Apple phones and doing all the video, and then have a guy over here that can do all the video editing, right? I know people that do. They have a full crew. They have a full bunch of people. They get into the video editing because that's the way that our world is turning into. And it leaves me to be the slobbering idiot over in the corner that half the time my videos and my neck is cut off and all you hear is my voice, right? And it makes me feel bad because I'd love to be able to do all that. But I've got a whole kennel full of dogs. I'm working animals. I'm doing everything I can to do what I love to do, right? So keep it in mind. And I'm just trying to educate you guys. Just get into understanding what you're getting into. A Dutch Shepherd in a general sense is not a pet. He's been bred for a purpose, especially any of these dogs that are coming out of the KNPV lineage, right? Then you've got FCI starting to show it. FCI is more of a European umbrella that's over the top of the breeding, and you have this little attitude FCI is better than KMPV. Reality and truth, they're watering it down and they're making it more of a pet quality. More the power to them. You can't tell people what to do in a general sense. We were talking on one of the podcasts yesterday. They had a discussion of extreme breeding. And what are they talking about? They're talking about the French Bulldog, the Frenchies. Everybody and their brothers jumping in because they're so expensive, because it's harder to breed them, because they've got to go through a cesarean and you don't get as many puppies in the litter. And so that brings the price way up. And oh, they're just such a cute, and everybody goes crazy on the Frenchies. But you've got a big group of people over here doing what they call extreme breeding that are basically doing aberrations of the breed. And the uglier looks and the more you've got character in that regards, and it's genetically, to me, garbage. But they're getting into it. They call them fluffies, and just it's ridiculous in my world. Because that's my opinion. You're hearing somebody that's giving you my opinion, right? And remember, opinions are like assholes. We all got one, but some of them stink more than others. I apologize for my language, but I'm bare bones, frank and honest. I don't cut no bullshit, is what I like to say. So I apologize for my graphic nature and who I am, but I'm out here doing it for real. I don't play, right? You can get one of my dogs if you're qualified, meaning you need to have enough dog experience underneath your belt to be able to get one of my dogs, okay? And I put everybody. I had one dog I was calling Dante. Dante was a Malinois that I had a litter with a friend of mine a few years back, and the gentleman got to know me, expressed himself. He'd been doing rescue for years, and he'd have every breed. So by osmosis, he's been dealing with all these different dogs. He's a perfect client. And so I took the dog, and he paid me to work the dog, give him his imprint, go out, take him in people, places, things, develop that animal. And I developed the animal and did all the training in 2-3 months that he paid me for working that animal. And then he finally came and picked the dog up. I placed him with the dog, and he took that dog all over the country. And because of my connections where I had it, I fed him into some of the best trainers in the United States. He was a traveling nurse. Him and his wife would go all over the country, and they go out and do hospice type of work or whatever. Companies hire them to do all kinds of health stuff. I mean, they've got a good business that they've got, but he travels all over, and he wanted the dog to protect him and his wife when he was on the road. But he had enough dog experience behind him that's a great client. Marcel, that just gave my name out. That kid wants to be a professional dog trainer. He's got a lot of passion, a lot of love for it, and he's had a lot of different breeds. He feels he's ready for it, and he knew what he was getting into. We had these discussions. I got to know him. I screened him, and I ended up thinking that he's going to be a great, and he has. He's proven himself to be the perfect client for what I want. He's going to get out there. He's going to get serious. The dog's already been to the vet. He's already researched his trainers. He's already doing everything he can to give this dog a life that's what I want. That's the type of person I want buying my dogs. Not somebody that's got a lifestyle. They're working so hard and the dog gets stuck in the friggin' backyard. There's most people in America, that's their lifestyle. They shouldn't have a dog like this, right? That I have, right? All right, so that's enough of my soapbox, but I wanted to introduce myself to you. My name is Mark Ferrasci. I own ProTech Dog Training. Up here in the high desert, we are very right on what they call the snow line. Normally, a lot of the times the snow is up above me, but it gets where it'll get down in here, and Big Bear is up that way, San Bernardino County. And I'm on the backside of LA, backside of these big old mountains where we have a lot of storms. There's wind, and we just got done with a storm that was out here that didn't do much rain, but it was blowing and blustery, and the temperature went to 70 down to 49 within a day. Right now, it's still cold. 7:30 in the morning. I'm waiting for 8 or 9 before it starts warming up enough that I feel comfortable to bring the puppies out, put them in the kennel, right? So if you want a Dutch Shepherd, I've got them, but I've got to make sure that you're a qualified buyer. And I will put you through questions, get to know you. I want to know who you are as an individual and why you think you're going to be able to give my dog the type of life that he deserves. You understand what I'm saying? So good to meet you folks. I'll be on the list a little bit and kind of checking things out, but the list is a little bit more, the group is a little bit more of a public-orientated group, and a lot of you people are getting Dutch Shepherds that are just kind of filtering out kennels, pounds, whatever, and I can't stop people from doing what they're going to do, but I sure as hell can still express my opinion and try to educate you and try to teach you so that we don't have the problems that we do coming from society. It's not the dog's fault, you know what I'm saying? So keep it in mind. Thank you very much, and you guys have a good day. I have no idea how this is going to come out. We're going to go look and see what we got. Mark Ferrasci, ProTech Dog Training, out here in the high desert. Bruno, good boy. Platz. That's Bruno, my Dutch Shepherd, and then Joker, the dog that's been with me probably 10 years. I think he's about 10 years old now. He's about the same age as Oscar's Guapo. I think we got him around the same time. 2016 is when he was born, and he came from a dog broker that knows me, and he loves the Belgium line. So he got me this dog, and they're larger, they're bigger Malinois. But he's been a great dog. Joker, passau. Boy, good. All right, talk to you guys later. Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training up in the high desert. Have a good day, guys.